it was portrayed really well. The voice acting in this game is superb. It's nothing short of fantastic. I love it. I absolutely loved it. You know, there are a lot of games where the voice acting isn't amazing, and there are some where it's just bad, and that really brings you out of the immersion. And it didn't do it in this game. You know, some of the enemies maybe a little bit. You know, some of the sort of characters that you just see wandering about again a little bit, but the main characters, stellar performances. You know, Christ, I can't remember the name of the guy who plays Booker DeWitt. I might just have to Google this. Troy Baker. There you go. I had the name stuck in the back of my head. Troy Baker. An absolutely fantastic job in this game. And then you've got stars like Jennifer Hale. I mean, is it a surprise to anyone that Jennifer Hale's in a video game? She's in everything. I swear to God, she is in every video game. But yeah, acting is absolutely stellar. I'm going off topic a little bit, but yeah, anyway, the character of Booker DeWitt is more than your rugged middle-aged dickhead. It evolves for a little bit, and he becomes a fantastic character that you do relate to. You know, like I said, you get immersed in the world, and you really start to look through the eyes of this character, which is great. That's what you want in a game like this. And then you've got Elizabeth, again, fantastic voice acting going on there. I can't remember her voice actress either. Oh god. But yeah, a really good character as well. There's some great evolution in her story. There's the kind of sort of someone who's never killed someone before, somebody who doesn't want to do any harm, and then she sort of starts kind of going mad a bit, and she starts killing people, and she kind of breaks, and that's definitely interesting, as well as when you get to the right at the end of the game. And I don't necessarily want to talk about the story right at the end. I might do a separate video giving my opinions on that, because I do want to talk about that a fair bit more, and I don't want to kind of jam it into this video and end up diluting it. But the end's definitely weird with Elizabeth. I will say that she turns from being this character with a lot of personality into someone who's just dead set on this goal, and everything else is what's the word I'm looking for? Everyone else is expendable. That there is this goal, there is something that needs to be achieved, and she will go to any lengths to do it. Okay, and that's not a bad thing, you know, that is just an evolution of her character, especially as you get to the later stages of the game, like I said, as she starts to sort of become a bit broken. What else? You got the Lettuce twins. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but these two sort of crazy scientist people, wow, they're fun. They're very fun. They'll sort of pop up in the game at any random interval, and they'll start talking bollocks. That's all I can say. They are great. One of them's portrayed by Jennifer Hale, the other one's portrayed by somebody who I don't know. And I never paid attention to the credits, so go me. But they are very fun. I mean, for example, there's a scene in the graveyard where they're digging their own graves. There's going to be some symbolism here, and I think I might have missed it. But it was funny, nonetheless. They brought a good amount of sort of comic relief to this game, and this game isn't overly serious. I mean, it's definitely, serious. But there are a few moments here and there where it makes you laugh, but it doesn't break you out of the immersion. It feels like it fits in that world. It feels like something that those characters would do, which is brilliant. I mean, I've played something like, for example, Duke Nukem Forever, and it's not exactly the best world to become immersed in. I mean, you're hardly going to feel for all the babes getting kidnapped by the aliens, but you're going through and you get immersed in this world where you're Duke Nukem and you've just come out of retirement. You're sort of a little bit in the ditch, and then he starts sort of slacking off Master Chief, and you're just like, whoa, okay, I'm gone. There's my immersion. That's fucked off out the window. So long. See you later. This game has comic relief. Doesn't do that. Doesn't risk any of that. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the whole world, as well, is a fantastic world. Columbia is a brilliant city. I absolutely love it. I really love the design that's gone into it. it's essentially taking the best parts of early 20th century America and then lifting them up into the sky. I mean, early on it was all to do with big balloons, which I'd still to this day would have been cooler than the whole kind of sciencey quantum bollocks that's given us an explanation for why everything's in the sky. But it's cool nonetheless. It did feel really weird, especially some of the locations. You did get this idea that you were on level ground, you were on the planet, and you're running around, and then every now and then you'd remember that, hang on, I'm just floating in the sky here, and it'd be kind of jarring a little bit. It didn't happen too often, but when that did kind of do that, it sort of creeped up on you a little bit, and it was a weird feeling. Definitely a weird feeling, especially when you're going around on some of the sky rails as well, and you're suddenly reminded, great, I'm hanging over a drop that doesn't really go anywhere. You'll just kind of keep falling until you hit something hard at 100 miles down or so. Yeah, there was some great design going into that. I can't really sort of... whilst I'm kind of criticising it for weapon design, the level design in terms of architecture and in terms of look and sort of artistic vision is really good. I love it, absolutely love it, and it does make the fact that the game's a bit more linear than the previous BioShocks bearable, because it's not your standard brown and fucking grey Warzone bollocks that you see in so many sort of modern military shooters, for example. It's different, it's very fun, it looks great, it's interesting, and because of that, it's a nice environment to do some corridor shooting in. It definitely improves that. And I can't really think of much more I want to talk about. Oh yeah, the AI, of course, how can I miss this out? Elizabeth in this game, she's not just some character that follows you around and gets in the way, like Ashley in Resident Evil 4. She'll follow you around, and she won't sort of run in the way of bullets and then game over, you shot her because she stood up as you were lining up a sniper shot. She'll run around the battlefield, she'll collect ammunition, she'll collect medpacks, she'll actually help you. And when she's not doing that, she's hiding somewhere of her own intuition, and she's doing it out of the way, completely out of the way, and you can kind of forget about her, and then at the end, it's like, oh, you were there, you didn't get in the way, you weren't distracting, you weren't annoying. Well done, AI, well done. And I'll definitely give her a round of applause for doing that. It's probably the first time I've been in a game with a computer-controlled companion that hasn't pissed me off. And there is some great little bits of dialogue here and there with Booker and Elizabeth that is make it all the sweeter. You can buy ammunition in the game. See, I'm starting to remember topics that I wanted to talk about that I'd previously forgotten. But you can buy ammunition and stuff in the game, and this is one of the things that made the game feel quite easy. There are big areas. I'm not sure quite what the game thinks it wants to do. I don't think it knows what it wants to do. There are some areas where there aren't any vendors forever, and you're going along for a battlefield, and you're just praying that Elizabeth throws you some ammunition, because you just run out of everything, and the boss is only on half health. And then there are areas where there are vendors every other fucking room. Maybe that's exaggerating a little bit, but you get my point. There are areas where vendors and ammunition is really scarce, and areas where it's not. And this doesn't seem very consistent. I can imagine sort of putting a vendor after a boss fight. That makes sense. You've just wasted all the ammunition on the boss. Time to top up. But there are areas where they're everywhere, and you don't run out of ammunition. I was playing it on hard difficulty, and there are areas where I was running out of ammunition. I was staying low on ammunition for quite a while because there weren't any vendors, and it was expecting me to go through this giant area on a full clip of ammunition. Obviously, you get some off enemies, and you'll find some laying about, but that's not going to fully replenish you on hard mode. I tried playing some of the game on normal mode, and there was so much ammunition anywhere, even without the vendors, that, well, they just kind of made the vendors a bit pointless. they didn't need to be there on normal mode, and they needed to be there on hard mode, and there are some situations where they just weren't there for a long while, and that was annoying. Very annoying. And like I said, some areas where they were everywhere, so you had unlimited ammunition. And obviously you buy them using the in-game currency, and you get this fairly often. You know, on hard mode, you can pick up lockpicks and get Elizabeth to pick locks. There aren't any of those little mini games anymore, which I'm not the biggest fan of, if I'm honest. They're fun, but I don't particularly like them. It's more of a personal thing. So you're not really short on cash. So every time you go to a vendor, top up all your weapons, done, go. Now maybe it's going to be a little bit harder on the difficulty that you get after hard mode. But I haven't tried that. I don't know if I've even got that, so whatever. I'm gonna have to look into that and try the game on that just to get a good idea of if the game balances itself out a little bit. You can, however, get these sort of clothing, gear upgrades. It doesn't change anything on your character. Admittedly, it would be kind of a waste of development time developing clothes for a character that you don't actually see because the game's entirely first person and there aren't any mirrors anywhere. At least not to my knowledge, not even in the bloody toilet. And this gear isn't just like a boost to stats. It's very cool because it offers some unique abilities. I can't remember more off the top of my head, but one that I quite liked was if you kill a character affected by one of the vigors, that ability spurts. Spurts is apparently a word now. I'm trademarking that one. The ability spreads to nearby enemies. So, you had a group of enemies, what would you usually do? Well, maybe you'd use a rocket launcher or something to take them all down in one hit. You have a rocket launcher, you have a revolver. What do? Hit one enemy with your lightning vigor. They're standing there getting shocked. Headshot. Kills the enemy whilst the vigor's still active. And then it spreads. Headshot one guy, spreads to the next one. And they're all getting stunned by this. So you do it on one guy, it spreads. You can take it a whole group of 10 plus people, as long as they group fairly close together, quite easily, with a single shot weapon like a revolver, and there's even enough time for you to reload, providing you get reloading upgrades, which again you can buy for weapons at certain different vendors. And you got reload, you've got lack of sort of recoil dampening and stuff. So there's a bit of upgrading going on there with your weapons, and then you've got your gear, and there were some upgrades for what was it, for the vigors that I never really touched because they're very expensive. On hard mode, you're going to be replenishing your ammunition at just about every vendor, and if not, you're going to want to upgrade your weapons as well because they're fairly cheap. Like I said, when you get to a vendor, especially after a long period of not having one, you're going to want to replenish the ammo and all of your weapons. Not so much in periods, like I said, when there are lots of vendors root up in sort of a short space of time. Sorry. And these upgrades of the vigors, they're expensive, very expensive, more than about maybe $1,000 a piece or so, which isn't necessarily money you'll always have. I mean, I maybe upgraded one, and that was it. The rest of my money had to go to vigors. I had to go towards health packs. I had to go towards weapon upgrades because the weapon upgrades just seemed so much more beneficial. You're not really using your vigors a whole lot as much as you are your weapons. So to me, it makes sense to upgrade something that I'm relying on, as opposed to something that I'm not necessarily relying on. I think that just about wraps it up, in my opinion. Just to conclude, BioShock Infinite definitely let down a little bit by its combat. I'm going to say that. The combat isn't great. It feels good, but it's boring. The actual areas where you fight, however, aren't boring. They're quite interesting. They're quite fun. And they're not necessarily few and far between. But whilst you've got these big open areas and they give you a sort of false idea of you being in a big open world, it does kind of it comes at a trade-off. You don't get the branching areas. It's not like a maze anymore. You can't go off the beaten track. You can't really explore. But the level design in regards to the combat is pretty top notch. Very, very fun, and the environment in general looked great. Design and architecture is absolutely fantastic, and that more than enough makes up for the fact that the weapons and the vigors can be very boring and repetitive at times. The story as well is also nothing short of stellar. Voice acting, great across the board. What can I say? It was one of the first games in a while to really hit me emotionally and to almost bring me to tears at the end. Again, little spoilers, happy tears. They were happy tears. They weren't, oh no, Shepard's died and everyone's died and everyone else has died and I fucked up. Well, shit, it wasn't that at all. It was great. The ending was definitely worthwhile, and yeah, what can I say? Go buy this game. If you listen to this video and somehow sat through the spoilers, do yourself a favour and buy the fucking game. Do it at full price, £40. £40 well spent, definitely. Well, that's me waffling on for about half an hour in a fashion that wasn't concise in the slightest, and I probably lost track of what I was talking about more than enough times to make up for not. Anyway, I've been Rand Wilson, and you've been watching Lasting Impressions from SRAM Gaming, and I'll see you guys next time.